Hi, everybody. Welcome back to RPG Alone. I'm your host, Jason Reid, and today is episode 3 of Snog Snaglak's Adventures in the Forbidden Lands. Quick recap from where we were last time. Last time we started with Snog and his fellow tribesmen being captured. Their village had been raided, and he had been sort of captured, tied up, and was being dragged across the forest, the Groveland forest that he lives in, being dragged westward. Snog, being the kind of cagey, canny orc that he is, paid attention to the power struggles that were going on within their captors. They've been captured by a pretty large warband, and he identified that there were two factions going on. One being led by a sort of foolish orc that was the official leader of the party, a relative of the kind of orc warlord off to the northeast, and the other faction being led by a big, brutish, crazy orc named Golm. And Snog was able to manipulate the situation and gained just enough trust of the leader orcs, and was able to convince him that Golem was plotting against him. So he was able to sort of stir up some trouble, got those two orc parties fighting. In that time, Snog was able to free himself, and so were the rest of his orcs, but unfortunately him and his tribesmen had to scatter, so Snog found himself alone. He was able to get his gear. He was able to make some clutch stealth and running and survival rolls to be able to successfully escape the enemy encampment and elude any pursuers that were behind him. He was able to set up a camp and make it through the evening. And then the next morning, he started traveling to the northeast. Trying to figure out where he picks up. What does he do next? As he traveled, he encountered a few of these orcs. This time, for once, he was not ambushed. He noticed that there were a couple of other orcs. There were two of his kind of enemy orcs, and they had captured somebody that looked like a fellow tribesman of his. And so Snog, seeking revenge, he noticed one of the orcs that was there was Golem, was this big brutish orc that had actually taken Snog's finger off in a previous episode. So Snog noticed these orcs coming up. He lied away and he ambushed. And again, through some absolutely fabulous dice rolling, was actually able to bring down the two orcs. He took full advantage of his ambush, was able to bring down the two enemy orcs. And so we ended with the scene that we have here, where Snog is staring down at the defeated body of Golm, the large brutish war orc, and he discovered that the other orc that had been captured was none other than a villainous orc from his own tribe named Cog Yasubar. Cog is the orc that essentially sold out his tribe to this other tribe. For some reason, we never really established why. But we do know that Cog was the orc that kind of got that sort of like led these other orcs to us in the first place. So we need to figure out what's going to happen next here. So Cog, as far as we had established, was not loyal to Golem. He was loyal to the official leader. Well, I honestly can't even remember his name right now. I'll flash it right around here. But the official leader of the orcs, Cog was kind of loyal to him for some reason. Again, not 100% sure why. So I'm sitting here now, and this combat has just ended, and I look up and I realize that the orc who I thought was my tribesman, who I thought that I was freeing, who I thought might have some information as to what might have happened to some of my friends, was actually this guy that I know just sold us out. So where do we go from here? It's time to find out. So let's start to prep a session. Let's name this. This is going to be Buddy Orcs, because I feel like we're in kind of a buddy cops mode. Social, personal, tension, action, mystery. That seems about right. And so we're just going to start with Snog and Cog. Snog and Cog, I didn't put that together yet. Now let's take a look at these plot lines that are open. I think the captured by enslaving orcs plot line, I'm pretty much free of that now. Cog working for the Rust Brothers, that's still sort of an open thing. We never really resolved why he was and what that means. Then this was my sort of assumption at this point. I didn't, he's never quite admitted it, but it seems pretty well established that somehow he was involved in us being captured and being sent up to slavery with the Rust Brothers. But we need a new plot line. I need to have a new goal. So he really has kind of two choices. He could decide he wants to go back home, or let's say three choices at least that I could think of. He wants to go back home. Maybe he wants to find Zilug, his sort of like trusted companion. Or maybe he wants to figure out what's next in his life. I think like he just wants to kind of like wants to pick up the pieces of his life back together. I'm going to put that in there. He wants to sort of like I think what he wants to do is figure out what's next. So I'm going to put that as my plot line. And so now I need to figure out, okay, we've just killed this thing. What is my expected scene? What do I think is going to happen here, right? And I know that somewhere to the northeast, there's a much larger orc encampment that is kind of like the headquarters of this, like an orc town, basically. There's like some sort of orc town to the northeast, the northern reaches of this forest that I live in. I think Cog is going to convince me that we should go there. This is like a classic, I think we're kind of like a classic kind of buddy cops setup right now. I know he's handy outdoors. I know he's an explorer. He probably encountered this other war party at some point during his travels. If not for the fact that he just led an ambush against my tribe, I would totally just being with this guy. And so my expectation is that he wants to go northeast. And I think the scene that's going to be played out is us kind of establishing what we are going to do together. That's what I think is going to happen. So what I need to do is ask Mythic, is that really what's going to happen? So I want to know is, does the expected scene take place? Altered. Okay. Should interpret my results differently. So if it's altered, I should use the expected as the basis and use the plot points to alter the scene. Okay. So I thought there was going to be a pretty basic like arguments and we'll figure out what goes next and some trust building. That's not what's going to happen. So we need a new scene. So the first one we get is Not Their Master. A character in this turning point who is assumed to be working for one source turns out to be working for another. For instance, a hitman who's been trying to kill a character doesn't work for the mafia like you thought, but for a corporation has interest in that character. Okay, I mean, totally, this is leaning into something. So I assumed that Cog has sold us out and was working for one source, but it turns out he's been working for another. Let's see what else we can get here, because that's a pretty cool start. Rural setting, such as out in the country at a farm, that's fine. I'm kind of, I'm definitely in a rural setting right now, so it's not really adding anything. I'm going to get rid of that, because I know that's where I am right now. Let's get one more. A conclusion. So this is going to conclude a plot line. The funny thing is that, again, these two are starting to tell me that I might be gearing up to conclude this Cog working for the Rust Brothers thing. It's definitely looking like that's likely. Let's get one new plot point and see if I can get a little bit more to go on. A high energy gathering. Oh boy. All right, does this make sense? So it's very clear to me that we're going to find out that Cog is not actually working for the Rust Brothers, maybe not even working for the enemy orcs, at least not not in the way that I thought. He wants me to go to some kind of a big gathering that's taking place in the city. So Cog was actually an agent. Cog was acting on behalf of our tribe. Why? And so going way back with Cog, one of the first things Cog did when he started this whole series was try to kill Zilug. At least that's what I read. He made some kind of aggressive move towards Zilug. I've been assuming that he was a turncoat, but I know he's a criminal. I know he's an explorer. I think Cog was a spy. So we're talking. I don't trust Cog. He has just picked up, a sword or an axe or something that one of the other two dead orcs at our feet was carrying, circling around him. I don't trust him at all. I kind of want to stab him right now, and he's holding me off. He's trying to get me to step back. And I listen to what it is that he wants to say. because I kind of desperately want to believe him, because I'm not that strong. I don't really want to be out here by my own, and I've kind of known this guy, and I haven't hated him my entire life. I desperately want to believe him. I don't want to be out here alone. You know, I accuse him. I'm like, you led them to us. Why? Why did you sell us out to them? And he tells me that he didn't. He found out that Zlug was, my friend Zlug was actually an enemy. He found out something, that Zlug was somehow involved in a plot. He found out that Zlug was in league with the Rust brothers. That's what it is. He found out that Zlug was in league with the Rust brothers. I found out I needed to stop him. He was going to be supplying them with some kind of a compound that was going to let them do something. I don't know what, but I knew I couldn't find out. I needed to stop them. But I guess, I must have been tracked back, and they sent, they sent in their allies from the north to just find me, and they decided to just wipe us out. I can tell. I can tell he's speaking the truth. Cog wants me to go to the town, go to the Orc town in the northeast. He assures me his cover in the city is fine, and I can help him. There's going to be some kind of a big gathering. There's going to be some kind of a celebration that's happening in that town that we need to get to. We need to attend. He needs my guile. He needs my wits. So I think that's it. So Cog has revealed to me that he has actually been a spy this entire time, and he wants me to travel northeast to the other orc village. I'll look up the name of it, where the leader, where the sort of war chief is this like short-statured orc that that dead golem here has been making fun of. To go up there and participate in some city intrigues. That sounds great. That sounds like the kind of thing Cog Yasabar would be pretty good at. Okay. I buy it. All right. So let's go back to the Overland. Cog Yasabar, we're going to say, I think Cog knows this area. So I'm going to reveal some of this area. Okay, so I think let's say this is the area that Cog has kind of like revealed on the map. And let's put down where he wants to tell me that Orc City is. I would say it's kind of like at the north of this area here. I think that makes sense. Let's put a little mark. Okay, so Cog has kind of revealed this area of the map to me. So a couple interesting things I didn't know about. There's some kind of a cool thing off over to here, an adventure site of some sort, which I can ask Cog about because he's a bit of an explorer. But this is his target destination. So let's start to proceed. So we need to start moving. When we are traveling, we need to figure out which of us is going to be the Pathfinder and which of us is going to be the Scout. I am pretty sure that Cog is better at me than both of those things. I will volunteer to be the Scout. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't want me doing the leading of the way since I have no training in that. I think he'll kind of trust me to keep a lookout for things. A little line. So we're going to move there. This is going to be my second move of the day. Cog, no trouble, makes his survival roll to pathfind us along here. Now we need a random encounter check. I'm going to roll 2d6, 32. No encounter. Okay, great. There's no encounter. So the fact that I'm a crappy scout doesn't really matter. We're able to travel, and now we lead into the evening. Starting to get tired. We're going to need to eat. We're going to need to drink. Going to need to make some camp, do some foraging. So now my gear, I am running pretty low on food. Water I still have, and I know that we're right along a river, so I know that if I get low on water, it won't be too difficult to pick up. Oh, I forgot to add a talent. I need to add a talent. I realized that I have been a little bit over encumbered, and so I kind of need a talent. Now I have 3 experience points, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pack rat talent. So I had forgotten that my consumables count as equipment, so I've been a little over encumbered, although to be fair, I was captured and sold into slavery, so not even really. But I want to be able to carry all my crap, especially that I'm a merchant. So I'm taking pack rat. It'll give me 2 additional items without being encumbered. So I add that towns in. I pay for that with my 3 experience points. I'm not counting the chainmail as full encumbrance because I'm playing with a house rule that armor that you wear does not weigh the same as armor that you carry. So armor that you wear is 1 slot less. So I still have 1.5 slots of inventory available to me, which as a merchant is fantastic. Now what I want to do is I want to try to get some food, so I'm going to forage. Foraging I think is actually difficult right now because if I look at the weather, foraging is -2 because am I in Dark Forest? Yeah, I'm in Dark Forest. I'm in Dark Forest right now, and it's spring, so foraging kind of stinks right now. I would only be rolling 2 dice to try to forage. Well, I'll do it. I'm going to forage. Doesn't really cost me anything. Okay, I rolled. That's how I rolled, and I got 1 success, 1 bane. 1 success, though, is what matters. Roll a 6 and a 1. So awesome. I found a unit of food, which is great. I can eat that today instead of rolling for my food. So I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink. I need to roll 1d8. I roll a 3, so my water is still good. So perfect. So Cog has built camp. And now we are going to sleep. Let's see, are we going to keep watch? Is there a chance? I think we are taking a chance by both sleeping without it, but you know what? It's been a rough couple of days. There's no way. That was a 21. Yes, that's a 21. 21 is not going to be a random encounter, so we are good. Okay, so we sleep safely. No problem. Okay, next morning. So we are going to hike. Let's hex crawl north. Fine. Cog is leading the way, assuming he's getting us there no problem. However, we need to find out if there's a random encounter. I know that if I don't roll 21 or 12 either way, I know that's going to be fine. So no random encounter going here. We are approaching the town. I just like to draw my path that I've been on. I would say we're probably in Light Forest now. We're approaching the orc town just outside of the forest. Random encounter. Nope, no random encounter there. Too low of a number, so perfectly fine. We've had a pretty non-eventful journey northeast. I do want to, along this way, you know, Cog and I getting to know one another, and I want to ask him what he knows about this adventure site that's on the map. So this little spot right here. So I want to roll up a legend, and we're going to do that real quick. So let's bring out the Legends and Adventurers journal. When did this happen? A long time ago. When? Before the shift. Wow, long time ago. This is an old thing. There was a what? There was a skilled farmer. Okay. Sought something because of something. What and what? Sought a treasure. Makes sense. Cause of insanity. Awesome. And traveled to located, so 3d6, a tower close by. Yeah, sure. That's the site. In some forest, we'll just say that. In the direction of southeast. I mean, I know what this place is. Okay, so fine. I know the place, I'm not rolling on those. As the legend goes, it is said that he, let's say he rolled 46, said that he was never seen again, and that at the location there is a lost war chest. But also, what? But also aggressive Saurians. So Saurians don't really live around here. That's kind of weird. Let's go with something else. Let's just make it undead. I don't want to say Saurians are like right in my hometown. That makes sense for like a far away thing, but you know, there's not just unless they're undead Saurians. Undead Saurians. That's how it's done. I think the farmer was a Saurian. So for some reason, some skilled Saurian farmer was driven by insanity, because we're fairly far from where Saurians live. I think Saurians live farther to the east. But he went insane. Something got into him. He traveled to a tower close by, and he dragged his family with him. And I think as the legend goes, they are still looking for it. Need like a lizard man names. Got that here for me, fantasy name generator? Be there. Be there. Yes. Gishk. I like that. The Tower of Gishk. So if I want to go looking for some treasure, I gotta go raid the Tower of Gishk. So we've hiked twice. We've hiked morning, we've hiked afternoon. We can push into town, which I think makes sense. Why spend the night out here? Let's make an endurance roll. I got a success. Man, I gotta tell you, Snog, you're the champ right now. All right, so I'm able to hike. No ill effects. We arrive at night in the town of what? The town of Agnan Roz. I imagine. Okay, so do I have a problem getting into the city? Do we have a problem getting into the city? I think it's unlikely. So is there going to be trouble getting into the town? No. Okay, so no problem. We get into the town okay. Is there an inn? There has to be an inn. I feel like there absolutely positively has to be an inn that I can stay at. Yes, there's an inn. Okay, perfect. Let's see, what does an inn cost? An inn costs just a couple of copper. Probably a toll to get into the city. I would say that. Is there a toll to get into the city? Yes, there's a toll to get into the city, so we'll pay 2 copper to get into the city, especially at night. That's no problem. The 2 copper to get into the city, they point out where the inn is. So let's see, let's take a look here. So I wanna get a sense of this city a little bit. Favors NPC called Yasabar, coolly lonely. So it's actually it's pretty quiet right now. It's relatively calm here and is meant to be a place of business, which I find appealing. And it's and it's good for COG, because people are kind of minding their own business. Okay, so we're gonna go to a tavern. All right, let's learn about this tavern. The Three Thieves. The Three Thieves Tavern. Okay, awesome. Let's start a little document on this town. Agnan Roz. Toll. At night, at least. 2 CP. Tavern. 3 Thieves. That's awesome. So we head to the 3 Thieves, and is there anything else cool about this tavern? I mean, it's got the best name. Makes the best spiced chicken pasties and pheasant pies for miles around. Well, I gotta try that. All right, so we head into the 3 Thieves. I have really no clue what's gonna happen here, so let's roll up a scene. Confrontation, of course. Of course, there would be one of those. Another high energy gathering. Okay, so even though the town is quiet, the 3 Thieves Tavern is not. All right, so we need a new character. There's going to be a confrontation. We're going to go in there. We're going to the Three Thieves Tavern. I settle up. I spend some money. I book myself some cheap lodging, and I order one of their pheasant pies. 1 silver. I'm getting one of their pheasant pies, which is maybe a little bit rich. That's going to take care of my food and water for the day. And I need 1 silver for the meal. The lodgings is 5 copper and 7 other copper, so I've got 3 copper left. Start going in there. I sit up at the bar. I meet the tavern. I meet the tavern keeper, the orc. Set my heavy pack down. I'm tired. I've been hiking with forced march. I've been hiking all day. I do not have a huge amount in me. I just want to eat some spiced chicken pie, some spiced chicken pasty, and I want to go to bed. That's all I kind of want. But Cog is walking around, and he took us right to this bar. He knows this tavern. This is his spot in the city, and is this place cosmopolitan? I guess I have that question. I think it's pretty 50-50 that it's not just all super one tribe. I certainly desire yes. All right, so I'm looking around and I'm kind of pleasantly surprised at the very least to see that we're on the outskirts of the forest. It's not just like my enemy orcs here, especially in this tavern. I probably see like a pair of goblins off in the corner over there. I think there are various travelers here. Probably a dwarf. It's probably a dwarf off in the corner. Dwarves and orcs don't always hate each other. I see Ka walking around talking to people. I kind of just like, whatever. We need a new character. There's going to be some kind of a confrontation. Scholar, informative. So some kind of clever informant. It could be the dwarf. Is it the dwarf? Is it the dwarf? It would really stick out. I think it's unlikely. No, it's not the dwarf. He's meeting with an orc. Barguk Arga. Informant in the Three Thieves. Pakag is going to meet somebody. He's a smart person. He's a leader. Okay, so he's the leader of some kind of a trade organization in Agnan Roz. He's kind of like somebody that I would see as like a rival for like what I want to be. He's smart. He's sitting in there. Cog is meeting with him, and I'm not overly concerned, except I start to detect some kind of a heatedness. They are in some kind of a fight about something, and I kind of want to pay attention. What is the conflict between Cog and this guy about? Excitedly petite. The leader. It's about the leader of this town, and something that would make me happy. This guy really wants this leader brought down because he's taxing these merchants heavily. And Cog is mad. Cog is mad about what happened. And I'm looking around and I'm noticing that this guy Varguk has other orcs in here. And I kind of want this situation to diffuse. I don't feel like this is starting to get me uncomfortable. So I'm going to go over there. I sit down next to them. Cog's kind of surprised that I'm over here. I can tell that Cog is upset about what happened, and he's blaming Varguk for it. They're blaming each other for everything kind of going to pot. I'm going to call. My basic job here is to prevent this confrontation from spiraling out of control. So I'm going to do a manipulation to get these people to chill out. I got nothing. Well, I'm definitely going to push that. Wow, I utterly fail. So I roll and I fail my manipulation. I'm trying to calm this thing down. I move over. I'm super confident, right? I know I've got a silver tongue. So I move in there. I don't like that things are getting complicated. But my moving in actually escalates the situation. And Cog's like, Snog, you should have stayed out of this. So this guy Varguk is getting up and he's kind of getting ready to sort of storm out, and one of his big orcs is coming over, and I think we're gonna have a brawl. I think there's gonna be is there gonna be a fight? Yeah, there's gonna be a fight. Okay, so I go over, I try to defuse the situation. I just straight up make it worse. And we're orcs, right? So this is just going to be a brawl. Probably going to get the snot beat out of me. Not going to bust out short swords or anything here. So let's go to a quick tavern battle map of some sort. I think. Okay, so we're going into a fight. I've kind of just laid this out. I don't think this is not a fight to the death. I kind of just want to hold my own long enough to like not completely end up out on the street and have to like sort out a new place to stay. So I'm gonna get the snot beat out of me, but like this is what I really am trying to do here is just last long enough to not completely get the crap kicked out of me, or again, last long enough to not completely get thrown out of the bar. So I'm not gonna really like do a whole encounter thing. I kind of just want to make a melee test and try to get. Well, we'll see. Like one success, like I want to get one success passes the test. It means that like I two successes means I actually do well. One success means I do well enough to not like completely get thrown out of the bar, and zero successes means I need to find some other thing to do, some other kind of place to stay for the night. So we're gonna do a simple little test here, simple melee test. I get a success. That's great. I could push it. I may as well push it. I'm gonna push it because I could use the willpower, quite frankly. So I'm gonna roll 2d6 for to reroll the 2 dice for the push. 5, 4. Okay, so nothing happens there. All right, so fittingly enough, I take a point of strength damage. I'm able to earn a little bit of respect by holding my own for a little merchant orc with all these kind of big with all these big burly orcs in here. So what do I expect? I expect next there to be some kind of a conversation between me and Cog. So what is the topic of the conversation between me and Cog? I feel like he's going to let me in a little bit on why there was a problem. Favors NPC Cog are very flawless. This merchant guy has actually double crossed him, and through the kind of conversation and how things went poorly here, Cog was basically able to become convinced of that. So Cog's been misled. This merchant orc is the person that has been actually working with the Rust brothers and actually recruited Z-Lug, but was making it sound like the problem was the kind of warlord in charge of this town. And said, I need to make a decision as to what I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to stay here for the night. I'm going to get a good rest. I will have eaten. I will have drunk. Like I'm going to split up from Cog. Yeah, so our travels together end here. Cog and mine travels, like, for now, my travels with Cog end here because he's got his own agenda to be going on. He wants me to show up at the festival of Horg's Horn, which is in like 2 days. Cog wants me to do something that is in opposite to me figuring out what's next for myself. Carry leadership. It's like I just need to carry the leadership forward of something. There's like something that he's already sort of planned, some type of thing that's set in motion that it really just needs somebody to like set off a signal. He needs me to pay attention to something and set off a signal. He wants me just to give off some kind of a signal. When I see, he wants me to work in like the merchants, the kind of like, he wants me to sort of like get established in the merchants' quarters here and, kind of like be in that area, be in sort of like where the sellers are going to be. And when I see this like leader of the Merchants Guild, the bleakly classy leader of the Merchants Guild, he's given me like a signal to fire off. I don't know what's going to happen as a result of it, but he's given me like a flare to pop or something like that. So he wants me to carry this flare and set it off when I see this leader of the Merchants Guild sort of make his appearance at this festival. You ask me if I'm willing to do that. If I'm willing to do that, then there's nothing else for me to do. I don't have to worry about anything else until I say okay. So I've got 2 days until this festival. In the meantime, I need to figure out my place in this little mini city. All right, I think we'll end there for tonight. All right, thanks so much for watching.